She stood there holding a bag of fruit, her face so cold no one could tell why she came to visit, to apologize, or to make sure Mrs. Bay would never wake up again. The moment Mrs. Hung stepped into the hospital room and reached her hand toward the bed, Hoai Ca panicked and screamed while Hung froze in place. What was she trying to do? And what exactly caused Mrs. Bay's heart rate to spike at that moment? When Mrs. Bay collapsed, everyone thought it was just her old condition acting up. But the real reason shocked them all right before she fell. She had received an anonymous envelope filled with old documents from Hoai Ca's family things only someone from Hung's side could access. The doctor said she had suffered a severe emotional shock. Hoai Ca went numb. Hung couldn't even look at his mother because they both knew. She didn't come to visit. She came to check the result. The emergency room was flooded with harsh white light, every reflection bouncing off worried faces. Mrs. Bay lay completely still on the bed, her skin pale, her hands limp over the sheets. The monitor beeped slowly, so slow, it felt like the whole room was holding its breath. Hoai Ca stood beside her fingers, shaking, as she held her own hands together. The early pregnancy made every wave of stress tighten her stomach. When she inhaled, it felt like someone was pressing on her chest. She stared at the older woman who had cared for her like family just this morning. Mrs. Bay had warned her not to walk too much in the first trimester. And now, she was here, eyes closed, fighting for every breath. Hung stood at the head of the bed, jaw clenched, shoulders rigid. He kept glancing between the doctor and Hoai Ca, trying to stay strong, but the fear in his eyes showed everything he wasn't saying. One question kept eating at him. What frightened her so badly she collapsed? The doctor finally stepped away from the machines and turned to them. Her blood pressure spiked suddenly. It looks like a stress-induced episode, possibly a strong emotional shock. We're moving her into intensive monitoring. Hoai Ca swayed and grabbed the bed rail. Doctor, is she going to wake up? We can't guarantee anything yet, he said gently. If there's internal bleeding or a blockage, it could get serious very fast. Hung placed a steadying hand on her shoulder, though his own voice trembled. What kind of shock could do this to her? The doctor only shook his head. Anything that overwhelms an elderly person. Being yelled at, frightened, or pushed into emotional distress. The words hit Hoai Ca harder than she expected. She remembered the neighbor's rushed phone call. Someone came to the house. There was shouting. Then she collapsed. But they didn't say who it was. As the orderlies pushed the bed into the hallway, the sound of the wheels echoed against the cold tiles. Hoai Ca walked beside it, staring at Mrs. Bay's motionless face, her own heartbeat matching the beeps of the monitor. Hung squeezed her hand. I'm here, and the baby's okay. Just try to breathe. But her tears kept falling. If something happens to her, I don't know how I'll live with it. Who would come to our home just to upset her like that? Hung didn't answer, but the name in his mind was unmistakable. They waited outside the ICU, neither speaking. The hallway hummed with nurses' footsteps, patient names being called, and distant elevator bells. Suddenly, Hoai Ca pressed a hand to her stomach, wincing. Hun, my stomach hurts. He panicked instantly. Are you bleeding? I'm calling the doctor. She grabbed his wrist. No, it's just stress. I'm okay, I promise. Hung knelt in front of her, both hands on her belly. Don't scare me like that. She wiped her tears and forced a thin smile. I have to stay strong. For the baby. But tell me the truth. Why would someone show up right when we weren't home? Hung lifted his head. His eyes hardened. And from the far end of the hallway, they heard it. The sound of heels. Slow, sharp, getting closer. Hung recognized it instantly. He and Hoai Ca both looked up. The person walking toward them was the last one they wanted to see. The sound of heels echoed down the hallway, steady, sharp, each step hitting the floor like it was punching straight into Hoai Ca's chest. The yellow lights stretched a long shadow across the tiles, and when the figure finally stepped into the brighter area, her face became unmistakable. Hung's mother. Her hair was pinned tight, a bag of fruit dangling from one hand, and that expression, cold, unreadable, made the air feel even heavier. She stopped right in front of them, glancing briefly at the ICU door where Mrs. Bay was still fighting for her life. Hung's fists tightened. Hoai Ca instinctively placed a protective hand on her belly. Hung's mother broke the silence first, her tone flat but edged with something sharp. I heard. That old woman collapsed at your place. Emergency room and all. Hung stepped in front of Hoai Ca. His voice was low, controlled, but furious under the surface. Yes, she collapsed right after you left our house. A flicker ran through her eyes, too quick to read. Shock, guilt, or just performance? She raised an eyebrow. So you're saying I did something to her? Hoai Ca swallowed hard. The doctor said it was a severe emotional shock. They said strong stress could cut her off. CA, let me handle this. He stared straight at his mother, anger burning clean in his eyes. You went there and started yelling, didn't you? Hung's mother scoffed. I went to look for you. You weren't there. So I talked to her. I didn't touch anyone. A chill ran down Hoai Ca's spine. Something about the way she said just talked sounded more like an admission than a denial. Hung didn't hold back. Her health is weak. You raised your voice. You scared her. Oh, please, she snapped. Or are you both panicking because you don't want something exposed? The tension shifted instantly. Hoai Ca whispered, voice shaken. We're not hiding anything. Why would you? Hung's mother stepped closer, eyes sharp as needles. Because something feels wrong. I went there to find out. And if she fainted afterward, that's not on me. I didn't lay a hand on her. Hung clenched his jaw. You call that an excuse? Someone passing by slowed down to stare. Hung's mother grabbed his arm and pulled him aside. Listen, I came to check on her, but I won't let you blame me for something I didn't do. Hung shook her hand off. So, tell me, did you come here to visit? Or to see whether she's dead yet? Hoai Ca gasped. The whole hallway froze. His mother went still. Her expression shifted. Hurt, offended, or exposed? You think I'd wish death on her, she barked. I'm your mother. You forced her into shock. Hung shot back. That's what you did. Her eyes turned icy. She walked past them, slowly heading toward the ICU door. Hoai Ca panicked. What are you doing? Don't go in there. Hung blocked the doorway, shoulders squared. No, you're not going inside. Not now. His mother's jaw tightened. You're keeping me out over a neighbor. Hoai Ca trembled. Please, we're already terrified. Don't make this worse. Hung's mother ignored her completely. She locked eyes with her son, cold sharp. Fine, she said. I'll wait. I'll go in when the doctor says I can. She pulled a chair over, sat down with her legs crossed, and placed the fruit bag beside her. But nothing about her posture looked like someone coming to visit a patient. In her eyes, Hoai Ca saw only one thing, a storm starting to gather. Outside, the sky finally opened up. Heavy rain slammed against the hospital window, sliding down in blurred streaks. Inside the room, the tension felt like a string pulled so tight it could snap at any second. Mrs. Bay didn't move, her face pale, her breathing thin, the monitor beeping in an uneven rhythm that made Hoai Ca's stomach twist. Hoai Ca held her hand, gently whispering, "Grandma, it's me. Please wake up. Please." Hung stood at the doorway, eyes shifting between the frail woman on the bed and his mother sitting stiffly outside. She had no expression on her face, but her eyes, sharp, cold, like she was studying every outcome. Anyone looking at her would wonder, was she here out of concern or to see if the situation was turning in her favor? The doctor returned to check the vitals. "Her blood pressure is unstable. We need quiet and minimal movement in this room." Hung turned immediately. "You heard that, Mom. Don't come in." His mother raised an eyebrow. "I didn't say I was coming in. Stop assuming things." Her words were calm, but the tone carried blades. Minutes dragged by. 10, 20. Only the rain, the machine, and Hoai Ca's shaky breathing filled the silence. Then suddenly beep. A louder spike. Hoai Ca jumped. Hung, her heart rate look. Hung rushed to the bedside. His mother stood up instantly, something flashing in her eyes. Concern, fear, something else entirely. "Call the doctor," Hoai Ca cried. Hung sprinted out, which left only two people in the room with Mrs. Bay, Hoai Ca and his mother. Hung's mother stepped into the doorway, paused. Her eyes drifted to the monitor, then to the unconscious woman. Then she took another step in. Hoai Ca backed away like reflex. "Mom," the doctor said no one else should enter. She didn't answer. She stood beside the bed, staring at the woman she had shouted at earlier that day. A woman she insisted was just a neighbor, yet clearly held some weight in her plans. The moment stretched painfully long. Then she reached out her hand. Hoai Ca gasped, "Mom, what are you doing?" The hand froze on the blanket. Not the machines, just the blanket. But that close, that calm, felt terrifying. Hung's mother kept looking at Mrs. Bay, her eyes strange, half pity, half calculation. Like she was trying to decide what this woman might still remember. She smoothed the blanket slowly, too slowly. Hoai Ca's breath hitched. "Why are you touching her blanket?" Hung's mother finally glanced at her and smiled faintly. "Relax, I'm just fixing it." But the smile never touched her eyes. In them was something conflicted and something hidden. Just then, Hung burst back in with the doctor. The doctor rushed to the machines. Her heart rate spiked from a mild stimulation. "We need to stabilize her pressure immediately." Hung turned on his mother, voice dark with anger. "I told you not to come in." She crossed her arms. "I only looked. You're acting like I harmed her." Hung stared at her for a long moment. Hurt, distrust, disappointment all mixing together. Hoai Ca whispered, trembling, "Hung, let the doctor work." The doctor finished adjusting the meds. "This room needs to stay calm. If anyone causes tension, I recommend they step outside." His eyes lingered on Hung's mother. "Ma'am, please wait in the hallway." She pressed her lips together but obeyed. Before leaving, she gave Mrs. Bay one last look, cold, unreadable, unsettling. When the door closed, Hoai Ca and Hung stood silently together, squeezing each other's hands. The monitor steadied, but their hearts didn't. And the question that terrified them most still hung in the air. Why did Hung's mother really come here? To visit? to apologize, or to make sure Mrs. Bay didn't wake up too soon. The door closed behind Hung's mother with a soft click, but the tension she left behind stayed heavy in the room. Hoai Ca leaned slightly against the side of the bed, still holding on to Mrs. Bay's hand. Her fingers were cold, not icy, but cold in a way that made Hoai Ca's chest tighten. She tried to breathe slowly, remembering the doctor's warning about stress during early pregnancy, but her breaths kept catching in her throat. Hung moved closer, placing a steady hand on her back. "You okay?" he asked quietly. "I'm trying," she whispered. The way she looked at Ba earlier, it scared me." Hung looked at Mrs. Bay, then toward the door where his mother had disappeared. His jaw flexed. "She shouldn't have come in. I don't care what she says. She shouldn't have come anywhere near this room." The monitor beeped steadily again, but it didn't ease either of them. The doctor was still adjusting something on the machine, occasionally glancing at both of them, as if checking whether they were about to break down. "You two should sit for a bit," he said. "The patient needs stability. And so do you." Hung nodded gratefully and helped Hoai Ca into a chair. She sat, but her eyes never left the bed. Dr. Hung said, voice low if someone stressed her out. "Badly." "Could that really cause all this?" "It depends," the doctor replied. "Older patients with vascular issues can deteriorate quickly. Emotional distress can absolutely trigger a spike like this, especially if it's sudden, loud, or hits them at the wrong moment." Hoai Ca closed her eyes for a second. She saw again in her mind the neighbor's frantic words. Someone came to the house. There was shouting. Then she fainted. The doctor's tone softened. "But right now she's stable. That's what matters. Let's focus on that." He finished his checks and stepped out, leaving them alone with the rain and the soft beeping. For a while neither spoke. Then Hoai Ca asked almost in a whisper, "Hung, was it really her? Your mom?" "The person who came." Hung didn't answer immediately. He stared at the wall for a long moment before replying, "My mother was the only one who knew we weren't home. And she's the only person who would confront someone like that." Hoai Ca felt a cold knot twist inside her stomach. Why would she? Why would she go that far? Hung let out a slow, heavy breath. "Because she thinks you're hiding something. She thinks your family, our future, has some secret she needs to uncover. And she'll push anyone to get what she wants." "But there's nothing," Hoai Ca murmured. "There's nothing to hide." "I know." He took her hand. "I know that. But she..." Footsteps echoed outside the room again. Hung stiffened instantly. Through the small window in the door, he saw his mother sitting rigidly in a plastic chair. Her hands folded neatly in her lap, her posture straight, like she was waiting for a meeting instead of sitting outside the ICU. She wasn't crying. She wasn't pacing. She was simply watching. "Does she look worried to you?" Hung muttered. "Because to me, she looks like she's checking a clock." Hoai Ca followed his gaze. A shiver went down her spine. "I don't want her in here again," she whispered. "She won't be," Hung said firmly. "Not while I'm here." He stood by the door, arms folded, body angled slightly, like he was guarding the frame. Outside, his mother sat completely still, staring at the floor. Minutes passed. Then half an hour. Rain kept pouring. The hallway lights flickered faintly from the storm. Inside the room, the quiet was tense, but controlled. Until a soft choking sound escaped from Hoai Ca. Hung turned fast. "What's wrong?" She pressed her hands to her chest. Just anxious." "I'm trying to breathe." He knelt in front of her. Don't push yourself. Think about the baby, okay? Her eyes brimmed with tears. What if something happens to her? I can't stop thinking about that moment when her heart rate jumped. Hung grabbed her hands gently. Listen to me. That wasn't because of you, or the baby, or anything you did. She's going to be okay. She's strong. And what about your mom, Hoai Ca whispered. What if she tries something again? Hung's expression hardened. If she tries anything, she'll answer to me. I won't let her hurt anyone else. The door opened slightly. A nurse peeked in. Everything all right? She asked softly. Yes, Hung said. Just a moment. The nurse nodded and closed the door again. Hoai Ca lowered her face into her hands. Hung, I don't know how to face her. I don't know how to act around someone who could make an old woman collapse. He cupped her cheeks to lift her gaze. You don't need to face her. Not right now. You focus on the baby, on yourself. I'll deal with her. She leaned into him, resting her forehead against his shoulder. The rain hit the window harder now, like a drumline. Outside the door, Hung's mother shifted in her seat for the first time in almost an hour. She uncrossed her legs, folded them again, then looked up slowly toward the ICU sign above the door. Her expression was unreadable. Why is she still there? Hoai Ca whispered. She's waiting, Hung said flatly. For what? Hung didn't answer. He didn't have to, because they both knew. His mother wanted to see who would walk out of that room conscious first, Mrs. Bay, or the truth she was trying to force out. Another 15 minutes passed. The doctor returned with a chart. He smiled slightly. Good news. Her numbers are leveling out. If she continues stabilizing like this, she may regain consciousness later tonight or early morning. Oh my God, Hoai Ca whispered. Relief washed over her like warm water. She squeezed Hung's arm tightly. Hung exhaled, shoulders dropping. Thank you, doctor. But the doctor added, when she wakes up, she may feel confused or frightened. Keep the environment calm. No arguments. No stress. I'll make sure of it, Hung said immediately. The doctor's eyes flicked toward the hallway. You might also want to manage whoever is waiting outside. Hung nodded. I will. When the doctor left, Hoai Ca stared at Hung with wide eyes. If Ba wakes up, she could tell us what happened. She might know exactly who came to the house. Yes, Hung said slowly. She might. And if it really was your mom, Hung took a deep breath. Then everything changes. Hoai Ca held his hand tighter. Do you think she'll try to come in when Ba wakes? Definitely, Hung said. She'll want to hear every word. She'll want to know if Ba remembers seeing her. Hoai Ca swallowed. Hung, she's dangerous. Hung didn't deny it. He walked to the door, opened it just a crack and looked out. His mother lifted her head. Their eyes met. She didn't smile. She didn't frown. She simply stared, calm, sharp, unreadable. Hung closed the door slowly. She's waiting, he murmured again. And she's not going anywhere. The rain outside grew louder, almost like thunder. Inside the room, the heart monitor kept its steady pulse. Everything was still, but both of them felt it. The real storm would start the moment Mrs. Bay opened her eyes.